of the amendments? And the answer to this is no. The right of privacy is not protected by any of the amendments, but it is protected by the legislated laws. So you have different laws at the federal as well as state level that protect the rights, the privacy rights of a person. But in Constitution, there is no amendment that protects or that gives the protection to the privacy of any individual. Next, let's talk about the expert witness, what an expert witness is, and how you can become an expert witness. So in any circumstances or in any case, there are two type of witnesses. First are your ordinary witnesses, or like the people who saw the crime being committed, and based on what they saw, they can testify in court. Second are the expert witnesses. So the expert witness is a person who did not see the crime, happening. He was not present when the crime was occurring, but due to his specialty in that particular domain, they can testify or give their expert opinion in front of the court. The example of this thing is, like let's take the example of a murder case. So your regular witness would be somebody who saw the murder being committed or the crime being done. On the other hand, the doctor who performs the autopsy will be your expert witness. And even though the doctor is not present at the time of the murder or at the time when the murder was happening or crime was happening, but they do have the expertise in the medical field, and due to their expertise, they can present, or give a report to the court that this person X died of, this ABC reasons, say it was like stabbed or something like that. So the expert witness would be somebody who has the expertise in any particular field, and they can assist the court in determining the case. So the next question is who can be an expert witness and how to become an expert witness? The answer to that is like, unlike the medical field where you have, if you are an MBBS doctor, you have the degrees, you can become a expert witness in the medical field. On the other hand, in digital forensics, we don't have like any courses or any degrees that can make you an expert witness. It's up to the court and the judge to decide. So if the court or the judge thinks that, like person A or you, for example, are qualified enough to be an expert witness on digital forensic cases, depending on your qualification or your past work or, like something like that, they can appoint you as an expert witness. And then whatever you testify in front of the court, like, depending on the case, whatever your analysis is or report is on that particular case, that will be accepted and that will be included under the evidences list for that particular case. Other than expert witness, if somebody else says something, like in a court, unless they have proofs of that, it will not be be considered admissible, and it will be just, like words coming out from the people. So earlier we talked about the Fourth Amendment and how it protects, different people from unreasonable searches and seizures. And there we talked about warrants, that in order to like do any type of search and seizure, the law enforcement agencies need to get a warrant. Let's look into the different aspects or the different things that are required to get a warrant. So the first thing is the probable cause. So in order to get any warrant from a judge, the law enforcement agency has to give a probable cause. So they have to say, there is a chance that this crime is occurring at this given place, or there is a chance that, this person is related or has committed a crime in the past, or it is the person is wanted or something like that. So there should be a probable cause, and they have to give the judge some proofs that can support their argument. So once you give the probable cause, the next thing is you have to define the place in which you want to search. So it is the particular of space, like particularity of space, what space or what, like compound or room or house or location that you want to search. So this is also important to mention, to the judge, because the law wants to make sure that, the police officers that are conducting the search, they don't go out of the scope of the warrant. So for example, if somebody like a law enforcement agency gets a warrant to search your office, they should be only confined to your office. They shouldn't be given the liberty to search your house or your car or other belongings as well. So first is the probable cause. Second is the location, the particularity of the location, that you have to mention the location at which you want to search. The last thing is about the particularity of the thing. What item or what type of evidence are you looking for? So for example, if you are like investigating like a drug related case, when you are getting a warrant as a law enforcement from the judge, you will say that, hey sir, we want to search the apartment of person X, and we feel that we might find some drugs there, or we might see some equipment that is related to, like manufacturing drugs or something like that. So three things: first, the probable cause; second, the place or location that you want to search; and third, the thing or the item, or the forensic artifacts evidence that you are looking for. So in case of digital forensics, we will say, we want to search or seize the equipment from person X. We want to look into their laptops or their mobile phones or their tablets, and we are searching for, say, extortion emails, or we are searching for, like distribution of copyrighted information or movies or something like that. So three things to keep in mind when it comes to warrant. First is that you have to give the probable cause. Second, you have to like probable cause why you want this warrant. Second, the location, okay, you got this, where you want to search. And third, what you are looking for. So when you present these three arguments to the judge will give you a warrant. And generally, like in order to preserve the privacy of a person, the warrant is executed during the normal daytime or the normal hours, which by law are considered 6 a.m. In the morning till 10 p.m. in the evening or in the night. So generally, the law enforcement agencies they have to conduct this warrant during this particular time window from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. In order to search anything. But there are some other types of warrants too. The first is the after hour warrants. So if for some reason, the police or the law enforcement agencies don't want to, execute the warrant in this daytime. For example, there is a drug deal that happens, after midnight or in the after hours. So in those cases, the police can go for after hour warrants, which allow them to conduct the warrant beyond the normal working hours or beyond the daytime hours. The next thing are the no-knock warrants. So generally what happens is, even if you get the warrant from the police and you go to the location that you want to search, you will knock on the door. Somebody will come out and you will tell them that, hey, it's police and we have this warrant to search your, like your home or your office or the premises and so on. And basically they have to announce or tell the person they are searching that they are there with a warrant and they need to search. In non-knock warrants, this is, like police does not have to do all this. What they can do is, if they have a no-knock warrant, they can just go and, if they need, they can just kick your door and come inside and start searching. Why it is important or why it's there? Because sometimes, there is a chance that if you announce to the person that you are here for, doing investigation, or for example, say the person saw you coming from the hallway or from the driveway and so on. So there is a chance that when they see the police, they can start, destroying the evidence. So in order to avoid those circumstances where you think, the possibility of destroying the evidence is high, you can go for a no-knock warrant. And in that case, if you have the no-knock warrant, the police can directly come into your house through the door, through the window, whatever way they like, and they can start investigation. Another form of the warrant are called sneak peek warrants. And the idea in sneak peek warrants is like, that you can further delay this notice of warrant to the person you are searching. So for example, if you still suspect that if we go, or if a police party goes or to search somebody's house properly, either via no knock warrant or like a normal warrant, there is a chance that, the person might be destroying the evidence, or the person, whenever they see, the police cars coming in their like street, they will start destroying the evidence. So in those cases, you have another form which is sneak peek warrants, and which says that with the sneak peek warrant, you can go even quietly or say covertly inside anybody's home or any location that you want to search, and you can start searching. You don't have to announce yourself, and you don't have to tell the person that you are there for search. So just imagine, like, you get the sneak peek warrant, you see the window of the house open, so you can go in and you can start looking around for evidences. The only difference in sneak peek warrants is that in sneak peek warrants, the officers cannot seize anything or any material. So they can go there and they can look at the crime scene or at, the compound, the room, the house, or whatever they are searching in, but they cannot seize anything. You know, so that's a difference, a key difference in sneak peek warrants. First, that you can delay your notice. So in sneak peek warrants, even if you don't inform the person at all, it's fine too. So for example, you saw the door open, or you just opened it with like a magic key or something like that. You went inside the house, you surveyed the house, looked into different things, and you come out of the house without noticing at all. That can also be done in a sneak peek warrant. Another concept that is there is, it's called the plain view doctrine. So the plain view doctrine says that whenever you are, conducting a warrant, you went to a location for say, and you have a warrant related to drug charges, or you are looking for drugs, or you are looking for drug related equipment. You go to the location, and while you are searching, you find the evidence of some other crime on the same location. So for example, you went for to find the drugs, but you also found, say, some extortion money or something, some illegal weapons or something like that. So if any evidence is in plain view, like, just you look at the by looking at the room, you can see there are some illegal weapons, or lying around there. So you can, confiscate them. You can seize that additional piece of evidence, which is not part of your main warrant or your main case. And based on that evidence, you can even start a new investigation. So the idea is that the similar example would be, like if you're walking in front of the police, like holding some illegal drugs on your head or in your pocket, and showing it to police. So the police don't need to get a warrant. They can just look at you and they can see like the illegal thing in the plain view. So that is the plain view doctrine, that when you are conducting a warrant, if you see the evidence for another thing, another crime right in front of your eyes, you can confiscate them, you can seize that evidence without a warrant, and you can also start a new investigation for that particular crime just based on the new evidence that you found. All right. So we talked that, like the Fourth Amendment protects the right of a person for, against unreasonable searches and seizures. And we talked a lot about warrants and, how the law enforcement need warrant in order to search you. But that's not always the case. There are some cases in which, police can search you or seize any item without a warrant. The first case or the first example is if you give the consent to the police. So if police officer comes to you and say, hey sir, can you give me the consent? We want to search you. We are like investigating this particular thing, and we want to search your car, or we want to see your pockets or something like that. So in those cases, whenever you give the consent to the police, then they have the right that they can search, you, and they can also like seize items from you. Second is the plain view doctrine that we just discussed, that if anything is there in the plain sight, and the police officer can see the evidence right in front of them, they don't need a warrant in order to search that, or to in order to seize that particular piece of evidence. They can confiscate that piece of evidence, or that artifact as well. Next thing is search incidents to arrest. So sometimes, like if you are arrested and you go to police station, or while you are being arrested, the police has this authority that they can search you, and they can seize, they can look for weapons or something like that. So, or some drugs as well. So they can frisk you, and they can see like, what items you are holding in your pockets and so on. Next example are the vehicle searches. So if a police officer has a probable cause and they believe that something is, illegal in your vehicle, they can search your vehicle without the warrant, or without getting, any documentation or any authority from the court. Next example are the border and airport searches. So, when you come out of like go to any country, or, come to United States from any other country, the border officers or the custom officers, they have the authority that they can search you, and they can also search your luggage in order to see if there is anything illegal there or not. Lastly, in some cases, like the public schools too, the public school officials, they have the this authority that they can search your bag. So, for example, if you are doing something illegal, you are selling drugs in the school, or you bring illegal weapon in your bag to the school, the public school administration, in some cases, they can search the students without a warrant if they have a reasonable suspicion on you, and they have a probable cause that you might be hiding something in your bag, and so on. All right. So the Fifth Amendment we discussed in the previously, it protects the right of the news agencies, and it states that you cannot, obtain a warrant, and you cannot search or seize any equipment from a news agency's office or their editorial, like room, and so on. So what to do, like if you need to investigate a news agency, how you can do that, or how you can proceed. So to do those things, there is another terminology in law, another document or a process, which is called a subpoena. So a subpoena is a command to a person to appear either with evidence, or without evidence in front of a court. So for example, if you want to investigate, like BBC, you can contact, like you can go to the court, and the court can issue a subpoena to the head of the office of the BBC to appear in court, and whatever evidence that the police need to search. For example, they want to see search their computers, or they want to search their video cameras, or so on, they can request that to court, and the court will add that in subpoena when they are requesting the CNN head to appear in the court. So whenever you receive a subpoena, you have to, oblige to it, and whatever, whether it's just in person, just you will have to go there, or if the court requires you to bring some document, or bring some, like evidence or some material along with you that the police want to investigate, you are obliged to provide that piece of information or that evidence to the police in order to search. So one question that might come in your mind is like, what if these the things that the police is asking, they are so unreasonable that are there in the subpoena? For example, we are here in Grand Rapids, and just imagine some court in California issues a subpoena to the GVSU to bring all the student data that they have to them. So in those circumstances, like you will have to think, is there a way to bypass it, because it's legally binding on you to go? So there are ways to bypass this the subpoena. The first thing is that if you feel that the subpoena is not allowing you enough time or reasonable time in order to compile that evidence, or the documentation or the data that they request, you can file to quash the subpoena. So by the way, like this term quash the subpoena means like, getting rid of the subpoena, or like terminating the subpoena, or getting it terminated by the court. So the first thing is, like the first reason is that it does not allow you reasonable time. So taking the same example of the California court asking for the GVSU student records. So if you feel that, subpoena asks you to come tomorrow and bring all the like the data of all the GVSU students. So then you can say that, compiling all the GVSU students data cannot be done in this particular time, cannot be done in one day. So because of this reason, I want the court to quash the subpoena. The second thing, or the second argument, is if the subpoena requires someone who is not party to the action, like who's not either accused or directly, like, or defendant or something like that, they cannot request, like the court cannot request any person to travel more than 100 miles. So if a court issues a subpoena from California for GVSU, say, dean to come in person, the GVSU dean can say that, it is way further than 100 miles, so I cannot come to this court. So therefore, I need you to quash the subpoena. The next thing is if the subpoena requires GVSU to disclose any privileged information. So for example, SSN are like private, considered private information. So if the court asks for, all the SSN numbers of all the employees or all the students of, or if they ask about other personal details about the students or the faculty here, from the GVSU head, the GVSU head can say that, or the dean can say that the information that is requested by the subpoena is privileged. So therefore, we cannot oblige to this subpoena and we need to quash the subpoena. The next thing is if the person is subjected to undue burden. So unlike the first three things, which were pretty straightforward, right? You have the reasonable time complication. You have compliance. You have the 100-mile radius. If the subpoena asks you to travel more than 100 miles, you can quash that, or you can file a motion to cancel that subpoena. And lastly, if the court or the subpoena is asking you to reveal some privileged information, the last thing, which is undue burden, that is subjected to the court. So depending, your circumstances, the court can decide whether there is some undue burden that is being put on you with this subpoena, or if it is something bearable and you should oblige with the subpoena or not. So based on these things, you can file to quash the subpoena. There are some other cases too. So similar to the privileged information, if the subpoena, requires a person affected to provide some trade secrets or some confidential information, you can, file for squashing the subpoena in those cases as well. Similarly, if the court requires you to, disclose your personal opinion or your expert opinion about some specific thing, in those cases too, that will lie, under the confidential information, and you can go for quashing the subpoena. And lastly, is about the expenses. So if you are not a direct party in that particular case, and you still receive a subpoena from court, and it puts you under a lot of financial burden. So for example, you have to go to California in the next flight, and you cannot afford the flight prices or the ticket prices. So in those cases too, where the subpoena put somebody or require someone who is not directly a party of the case to incur substantial expenses, or monetarily expenditures, they can squash the subpoena, and then they can file in the court that this subpoena is putting undue burden on us, both physically, mentally, or financially, and therefore you need to cancel this. One important thing that is there for the subpoena is that only the court that issues the subpoena has the authority to quash it as well. So for example, if the district court in say Los Angeles issued a subpoena to summon the dean of the GVSU, only that particular court in the Los Angeles has this capability to quash it as well. You cannot go to the district court in say Grand Rapids to quash that subpoena. So sometime what happens is, one court, say the district court in Los Angeles, it will have multiple judges. So ideally the same judge do that, but if for some cases that judge is not available, another judge from the same court also has this ability or also has this power to quash a subpoena. So this is it for this week's lecture. So if you have any question about any of the amendments or any other thing that we discussed through this lecture, please let me know. And also if you have any other feedbacks for the video lectures or the recordings or any other material of the course, please feel free to reach out to me via email. Bye bye.